Hello, welcome to Jackrabbit Journal. The SDSU wrestlers keep it rolling. They've got a big old winning streak going right now. The SDSU football team has 29 new prospects now that the excitement of signing day has come and gone. And the basketball teams are both hot right now. The Jackrabbit men are in first place in the Summit League after a win over IUPUI on Saturday. A complete turnaround from the loss that the Jacks had at IUPUI just 30 days ago. The Jacks lost that one by 7, but they win this one by 22. George Marshall comes out bouncy, scores 11 of his 16 points in the first half to get the Jacks going. SDSU up by 11 at halftime. And then Connor Devine comes in the second half and rips the rim off. The Big Cat and the Condor hooking up. Connor Devine soaring in for an alley-oop jam off a great pass from Ian Tyson. The Jackrabbits get 35 bench points in this game. 8 from Connor Devine, 6 from Keaton Moffitt, who made all 3 of his shots, 16 points from Mike Dom, and the Jacks win at 80-58. They are 8-2 now in the Summit League and in first place by a half a game right now over Fort Wayne. We've got Scott Nagy coming up on his team D'ing it up hard lately, and how delightful it is to have Devine doing what he is doing for the Jackrabbit men right now. So the men have won 5 games in a row. So have the Jackrabbit women. They go to Omaha and win by 18. No starter plays more than 24 minutes in this game. Lexi Alexander, the leading scorer off the bench with 11 points. The Jackrabbit women, by the way, 5-0 on the road in Summit League games so far. And then at home on Saturday, a dismantling of North Dakota State. Jacks win by 34, and again, no starter with more than 25 minutes, but 4 of them score in double digits. Macy Miller with 15 points, Maddie Giebert with 14, Clarissa Ober, 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 more block shots for her. And they are playing some brutally efficient basketball right now, are the Jackrabbit women. And up next, Aaron Johnston on the joy of having a team that likes to actually play defense. And the only thing that might derail this happy train for the women, unintentional complacency.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. The SDSU women's basketball team is just bullying other teams right now. The Jacks have won their last 4 games by an average of 23 points. Here is Aaron Johnston on getting a chilly win at Omaha and then the blowout of the Bison, and something his team needs to avoid this week that he calls unintentional complacency. All right, AJ, another good week, sounds like. Tell us about the game at Omaha that you started out with. Sounded like a good start, and then did it carry through for there, or what happened at Omaha?
Good start, cold. I don't know if you've been down there before or not. Beautiful new arena that they play in. It's really phenomenal, but chilly in there. It takes a while to get, oh boy, it was cold. But the team battled through it and played really well. Defensively, we were excellent in that game. I think we held them to 28-29% shooting for the game. Did a great job on Shaw, who is a fantastic player. Really took her, I think, out of her comfort zone, and we forced some other players to have to try and make some shots and make some plays, turned them over a bunch. Just did a really good job defensively. We had a hard time scoring, but we did a great job on that end, and it really kept us in the game.
And that is a hockey arena. Does it feel a little bit like a hockey arena, the new Baxter down there?
It does. I already talked about the temperature. You know, it's a beautiful arena, though. It really is. It really reminds me of the Premier Center down in Sioux Falls. It's just not maybe it's quite as big, same kind of amenities, same kind of look, and very, very nice facility.
All right. In that game, as you said, don't shoot it very well, but it's got to be nice to have your team really buying in to the defensive end and almost having fun playing defense and shutting teams down. Is that to the point it is, John?
Yeah, I mean, I think early in the year we were scoring some points and things seemed to come a little easier. Now that we get later in the year, we all know each other so well, and very few of our very big strengths just get to come out in games because other teams take them away, just like we hope to do. And so you've got to be good defensively, I think, this time of year. You've got to be able to stop people. And what we're really looking for on the offensive side is to be efficient, meaning don't turn the ball over, which we've been a little up and down with here lately, and what kind of shots are we getting. And I thought both of those two things against Omaha were good. We just didn't make enough shots. But when the defense has been excellent like it has all year, we've really been able to hang in there through some tough quarters.
And against North Dakota State on Saturday, there was a little extra lock-in, it looked like. They were just relentless going after those guys. It was a team you thought we can take these guys out, and you didn't mess around in that game, did you?
Yeah, well, it's a good rivalry game, so there's a lot of history there between the two, and it was also a home game, Port Classic, a lot going on, doubleheader. First time I've been home in a couple of weeks, and so there just was a lot of good energy from the team. Really sensed it, I think, before the game and saw it on the floor. Geez, we played really hard on both ends and played a lot of enthusiasm and definitely looked like they were having fun out there. And that attitude makes the game more enjoyable to watch, probably, but also on the court. You can just sense it from your teammates. So it was fun to see.
And the starters have been great, but when you get Chloe and Gabby and Lexi, that lineup's kind of fun to watch, aren't they?
You know, it is. It seems like a really small group coming in because they're all technically point guards at one point, but we're using Gabby more at the 4, so she gives us some versatility there. Chloe can play the 2 or the 3, Lexi back up point. Lexi's probably had about a 3-week stretch of her best basketball. She's played well on both ends. She's making shots, pushing the tempo. We're able to play Macy a little more at the 2 now because of her minutes. And Gabby and Chloe have just been there all year, so that group's been pretty important for us. Tiflada, I think, is going to be able to play some more minutes and hopefully give us a little bit more depth in that post spot, which would be good. Jess Mears too, but yeah, I really like where the team's at right now for sure.
All right, and 2 more at home here this week. Is there any danger of complacency with this team that you have right now?
Always a danger of
Is there?
complacency,
Right.
yeah. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, and that's the way we talk about it most of the time. I don't think anybody ever shows up and just like, hey, I'm going to pack it in today. I'm not going to practice, and I'm not going to. But it's an unintentional complacency. You start to feel almost a little too good about how you've played. You start to assume that we're just good at something rather than we work our butts off every day in practice to be good at something. So the unintentional part is always something to battle against, and we work pretty hard to try and make sure it doesn't happen. But ideally, that type of leadership comes from the team, and the players are the ones that are holding each other accountable, so it doesn't have to come from the coaches this time of year.
Who's somebody that does that on the team right now?
Well, it's something we've, to be honest with you, kind of struggled with a little bit throughout the year. We don't have a lot of vocal leaders. We have a lot of great leaders by example, but I think it's been more collective. Certainly Chloe does a lot behind the scenes, and that's what you want from a senior. Gabby does some things on the court that I think help her be that kind of player. But it'll be interesting as those two move on in the future, who takes over those roles, because we have a lot of quiet personalities in that junior and sophomore class, and they're going to have to grow a little bit in that part of the game.
So the Jacks have 2 home games coming up this week. They host Oral Roberts on Thursday and then get Fort Wayne at home on Saturday. And back to the bench bunch for the SDSU women for a moment. In this current 5-game win streak, the Jackrabbit subs have scored 28% of the SDSU points. That's pretty hefty. Lexi Alexander and Gabby Bover and Chloe Korneman, along with Tiff Flata and Sid Palmer, Jess Miras, and Ina Viso getting it done, coming off the bench right now for the SDSU women. Well, up next, the guys coming off the bench for the Jackrabbit men have been above average as well. Coach Scott Nagy on Divine and Dom doing their thing on Saturday against IUPUI, and why Coach Nagy needs some genuine toughness. No false bravado from his guys coming down the stretch in Summit League play.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Well, the Jackrabbit men have won 5 games in a row now. George Marshall and DeAndre Parks, Mike Dom all keep pouring in the points. Everybody is playing some serious defense right now. The Condor, Connor Devine, had a great game as the Jackrabbits beat IUPUI by 22 on Saturday. Here is Scott Nagy on getting a little payback against the Jaguars and how his team is doing it with defense in this current 5-game win streak. All right, Scott, 1 game during the week, a win over IUPUI, and a team that beat you at their place a month ago or so. And talk about what was different this time. Combs and Pickett and their guards got after you a little bit in that game there. What was different about the game here?
Well, I mean, it's always a little different when you play at home. I think guys play with a little more confidence. But number one, we had Jake this time. We didn't have him first time around. And it does make a difference. And not that Jake played great. He did lead us in rebounding. But to have him, makes our bench deeper. It just makes our team better, and so that does change things. Plus, you're playing at home. We got a great crowd. All those things. We've talked about this before. Guys are a lot tougher at home than they are on the road. And I guess I didn't feel like we played great, but when you look at the stats, it was pretty good. We shot 52%, had 9 turnovers, out-rebounded by 3, which should have been more because defensively we were good, held them to 35%. So the stats were good. I didn't feel like our energy was great. particularly offensively in the first half, but I did think in the first half we made a lot of hustle plays, diving on the floor. DeAndre took a charge. And so the energy in terms of what our guys want to do defensively and the hustle plays were all there. I just felt like offensively we stood around quite a bit.
When you talk about pace, offensively, are you talking about getting up and down, or are you talking about in the half court?
I'm talking about both.
When you're talking about pace,
I'm talking about run early to get good shots, and then having good pace in the half court means moving the basketball, because when the ball moves, then everybody else moves. But when people hold it and they dribble, then people stand and watch. And we have a tendency to swing it, a couple guys touch it, and then we hold it, and we're just looking for a ball screen, so we hold it and wait for somebody to come ball screen. And we end up standing around quite a bit. And it happens a lot in the first half because our offense is not in front of our bench in the first half. The second half, when it's in front of our bench and they can hear me saying pace and clapping and constantly yelling at them to move, we tend to move better. But I would like to get it to the point where we're not just counting on George at the end of shot clocks to dribble and jump up and make a jumper, which I think happens quite a bit in the first half. And in the second half, I feel like our pace is much better.
Which is good that he can carry it when he's making shots in the first half. That's
well,
a beautiful
yeah,
thing,
but we've had instances we go down to USD and we're not making shots, and he's not making shots. Now, he did at the end of that at half, but we also have quite a few stagnant possessions in the first half. In the second half, we have less of those because we play with better pace.
And in front of your bench, if they could play in front of you, that would make a difference, really.
Yeah, and that wasn't always the case. Early in the year, our first halves we were really good offensively. Like we had very few games, maybe in the first 15, 16 games, where we weren't ahead at halftime. We were always ahead. I mean, we played good in the first half, and I don't know, we've fallen into a little bit of a pattern where we're not very good offensively in the first half.
All right. It was fun to see Connor Devine play that well, and we knew he's good at the defensive end since he's been here, but to put it all together like that, it was fun to see that game out of Connor, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I was most happy for him, to get those minutes and produce a couple blocks, 4 rebounds, 4 for 4, and I think the team's really happy for him too. I mean, he had some very productive minutes, and so what that does is that builds confidence, or our confidence in him, and it gives him an opportunity to play more.
He had a couple of calls go against him that should have been charges. If those go your way, you guys would have had 6 or 7 charges in that game where you guys were stepping in and taking charges on them, right?
Yeah, Connor, and Connor's one of those guys that's really willing to do it. Plus, he moves his feet great for a big guy, and that's the one thing we do like about him. We can even switch him on to guards, and he can guard them. He's got great length, obviously, and he can get away from people, and it's hard for those guards to shoot over the top of him. But we like him defensively. There isn't a question about it. We're better when he's on the floor defensively.
Did you like the alley-oop from Tyson? Was that a good way to finish that break, or is
yeah,
that too fancy?
No. I mean, I don't think there was, we weren't trying to be fancy there. I think it was a great pass and a great finish.
All right, Wednesday at Omaha. Last 3 games, really since being at North Dakota State, last 3 games on the road, you've been pretty good, haven't you?
Pretty good, not great, but pretty good and good enough to win games. We're going to have to be great Wednesday night because they have every reason in the world to play hard. They're in a desperate mode, I would think, at this point. I think anytime you lose, it really helps you focus. And obviously we beat them here, and so but I think that's a test of a team too. When when you can win at home and then you go on the road and you play those guys, and again, that's where you can't have the fake toughness. It has to be real tough.
All right, of course, we recorded this show before that game at Omaha on Wednesday night. I'm going to say that it was another Jackrabbit win, and I base that on the fact that the Jacks are really rolling right now, and the fact that they have played well on the road recently. In the last 3 away games, not including the game Wednesday night at Omaha, but before that at Oral Roberts and at South Dakota and at Denver, the Jacks have shot at 48% overall, 44% on threes. That's pretty good on the road. They're out-rebounding the other guys by 8 per game, and they have won all 3 of those games. And based on recent performance, I am assuming that the Jackrabbits did beat Omaha on Wednesday night. I'm going to guess 85, 82, something like that. Our producer David Brown says the spread would be more than that, but I'm going to go with the Jackrabbit win by 3. That would be a great game. When we come back, we talk a lot about Divine and Dom and we talk a lot about Divine and Dom and Moffitt off the Jackrabbit bench, but true freshman Tevin King is making a big contribution this season too. We have him in the Rapid Fire interview coming up next. Not sure he really likes that song by Adele, but he says he does.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Tevin King is from Chicago, but he played his last year of ball before college at a military school in Wisconsin. He is the only true freshman in the lineup this year for the Jackrabbits, and he is in this week's Rapid Fire interview with David Brown.
All right, you're from Chicago, so key is Cubs or White Sox, North Side or South Side?
I got to go with the White Sox.
So you're a South Side guy.
Yeah.
What is it about? Did you grow up near the South Side, or did the White Sox just appeal to you?
See, being around my uncle, he was a White Sox fan, so by example, I had to be, hey, you're a White Sox fan as well.
How many times have you been called Kevin instead of Tevin?
A lot. Actually, Cole Gentry, my teammate, calls me Kevin all the time, but he plays when he says it, though.
Because, I mean, it's easy, Kevin King, and people naturally assume that, but it's Tevin King.
Yes.
Does it ever get bothersome? Do you ever get annoyed, or do you understand?
No, I understand.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
Hoodlum.
Why that?
It's a gangster movie. I like those type of mafia gangster movies. Just learn a lot.
You're stranded on a desert island. What's the one food you eat every day for the rest of your life?
Just throw chicken Alfredo pasta, and I'll be good for the rest of my life.
Got to get carb loading.
Yeah, I need it.
Who is the smelliest teammate?
I gotta go with Ian.
Everyone says Ian Tyson.
Yeah, Ian. He needs to fix that.
Have you been trying to help him?
Yes. No,
But it's not working?
No.
Who was your basketball idol growing up?
Derrick Rose for sure. He's the idol of Chicago. Help us kids. Shows us there's an opportunity out there. Just take care of it when it's presented.
It seemed my day it was, of course, MJ, but now in your generation it's Derrick Rose?
Yes.
What is the song that you're embarrassed to admit that you have on your iPhone?
I can't forget the art. I don't know the artist's name, but it's the new song. It's called Hello.
Adele?
Adele.
You're an Adele fan.
Yeah, just underneath the scene.
You've been here a short while, but what's your favorite part of Brookings, besides the gym, obviously?
Cubbies. I like being around Cubbies, the downtown area. Nice people down there.
Got a favorite food at Cubbies?
The barbecue burger. It's pretty good.
What's your favorite pair of shoes ever?
The Jordan 72 and 10s, 11s.
The 11s, the tuxedo ones with the patent leather on them?
Yeah.
Those are good. Last one. You and all your teammates are in a horse contest. Who wins?
Mike Dom.
Mike Dom, really?
Yeah.
Big guy's going to win the horse contest.
Yeah. No, that's his style right there. I'm not into the trick shots and the horseplay, but yeah, definitely Mike Dom.
All right, thanks for playing.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to Tevin King for playing along. Up next, the Jackrabbit Wrestlers keep it rolling on the mat, and the latest crop of football freshmen, a couple that we might actually see on the field this year for the Jackrabbits.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. The Jackrabbit wrestling team is at home this Friday night. They've got a Big 12 conference duel against West Virginia, and the Jacks won 2 more matches over the weekend. Alex Kosher and Nate Rodert with pins in a win over Utah Valley, and then a 32-9 win at Boise State, a pin for Seth Gross at 141, and another one there for Rodert at 197. The Jackrabbits have tied the school record with 11 dual wins in a row. They can set a new record on senior night this Friday at Frost Arena when they host West Virginia. Well, the Jackrabbit football coaches welcome 29 new prospects into the fold now that National Signing Day is in the books. The incoming freshman class, 6 players from South Dakota, including Preston Tetzloff, a linebacker from Brookings. His father, Kevin, was a great player at SDSU. The Jackrabbits get an offensive lineman from Parkston, South Dakota. Wes Ganant is 6'4", 295 pounds. He was a 2-time All-State player. And Cannon Nelson is one of 2 quarterbacks the Jackrabbits signed. Nelson is from Mitchell, led the Colonels to the state semifinals in his senior season.
He's coming in at quarterback, great leader. On campus now. He's a first for us. He graduated early from Mitchell and is taking classes. Going to go through spring ball with us, so very motivated, very focused.
Well, in addition to Cannon Nelson, the other South Dakota kids the Jacks get are Austin Barrett. He is a defensive end from Douglas High School. Another offensive lineman, Hunter Hanley from West Central, and Brady Sorensen, a long snapper from Yankton, who will reconnect with Brady Hale, the Jackrabbit punter, who is from Yankton, South Dakota. The Jacks get 6 players from the state of Nebraska. SDSU has done very well with Nebraska Jacks in the last few years. Dan Jackson is the SDSU assistant coach that recruits Nebraska, and he says that Elijah Wilson, a defensive end from Omaha, is really, really good. He was the Metro Defensive Player of the Year in Omaha and could end up playing for the Jacks as a freshman this coming fall. So could a cornerback from Omaha named Monte McGarry. He is a wide receiver, but the Jacks expect him to play at corner when he gets to South Dakota State. Another Nebraska kid is Jack Domandel, who had some interest as an offensive lineman from Nebraska and Kansas State. His mom, Julie, is from Huron, South Dakota. And spring football coming up only about 6 weeks away for South Dakota State. We have a basketball doubleheader this Saturday live on Midco Sports Network. The women will play Fort Wayne at 2 o'clock, and that is followed by the men taking on USD at 4:30.